What's something absolutely legal but totally unethical? Companies changing those on the fly to sweep them and starting subscription services without notice. Two of my devices about a year old have now started subscriptions. There's nothing on the advertisements, nothing on the product box, nothing on the website at the time of purchase, and nothing in the manual about any subscription service. But lo and behold, a year later, they changed the toes and plopped down a subscription service for a product over a year old. I'm just going to stop buying connected devices for just that reason. I've had it with subscriptions. Carried interest for the wealthy. I pay income tax. Only the wealthy paying to lobby politicians allows this to happen. The Joint Committee on Taxation Junction estimates that eliminating carried interest would generate $63 billion in revenue over a decade. Carried interest is a type of compensation that private equity and hedge fund managers receive for their services. It is typically taxed at a lower rate than ordinary income, which critics argue is unfair. Selling things in schools. I appreciate that the book fair helps get kids into reading, but there are so many people I know struggling really hard, and having the peer pressure on 7-year-olds is tough. I know your friend got $75 to spend at the book fair, but I don't have $75 for the book fair. Kids don't understand all the time. Paying invoices late. I found that late payments, especially from larger companies, are unfortunately common. It's disheartening to see how these delayed payments can impact small businesses, which often rely on timely cash flow to operate efficiently. Lowering kids' grades for no reason. Something our teachers did often. Sometimes just 15 points off of a small project for no reason, sometimes giving a 0 on huge tests worth half my grade for no reason. I went from an A to a D in some subjects. Charging exorbitant prices for life-saving medications. It's shocking how companies can legally put such high price tags on drugs that people desperately need for survival, exploiting those in the most vulnerable situations for profit. It's not against the law for fuckfaces to intentionally run over wildlife. I get car accidents, that happens to people and animal, but I'm referring specifically to the douchebags that go out of their way to harm wild animals, creating products with planned obsolescence. It's completely legal for companies to design products that will break down or become obsolete after a short period, forcing consumers to buy new ones. Back when I was a child, I saved all my Christmas birthday money for college. It turns out that my dad was emptying my bank account. It was legal because he was a co-signer on my account. Intentionally teaching your kids the wrong words for stuff. For example, teach your kid that the moon is called frog for like the first 5 years of his life, just to see what happens. Running over a human and not receiving jail time. Strucker guilty in death of Regan Russell at pig slaughterhouse. My neighbor is selling books that she is claiming to have written with her credentials behind her name about kids and mental health as a children's book. They hired a ghostwriter, repeatedly calling the police at 2 a.m. and lying to them, saying that someone is suicidal so that they'll perform a wellness check. Can't be stopped by any sort of legal process. Corporate plan obsolescence. Your phone's basically got an expiration date while still in the box. Legal? Yep. Cool? Not so much. Rich companies being able to box out smaller competitors. It was supposed to be illegal, but, look at any tech company now. Factory farming animals in warehouses where they never get to see sunlight or feel fresh air for their short miserable lives. Everything the Nazis did in Germany was legal. Everything done under Stalin was legal. Idi Amin, Pol Pot, and more all legal. Having insurance companies make healthcare decisions for their beneficiaries based on what is least expensive. Most tax write-offs. You'd be absolutely shocked at what you can write off and justify as a business expense. Killing a cyclist and the only penalty being $50, $150 and maybe a few demerit points in extreme cases. Clipping ears of dogs. And breeding dogs, ultimately just giving them unhealthy traits sometimes. Creating a human being only to raise them as your personal vassal with no freedom or respect. When you order a fast food combo and they say medium or large when small is an option. Returning your purchases within the return policy period because you're done using them. Significant others taking half of someone's income, who had zero role in that income. An employer garnishing wages due to their time reporting or accounting errors. Politicians using insider information and purchasing individual stocks. At this point, the whole of capitalism is way past what's acceptable. The manufacture of nuclear weapons. The animal agriculture industry. Selective enforcement by the FBI. The FBI ignores lots of crime. Clarence Thomas's $267,230 RV and the friend who financed it. Tow trucks towing services. make up the prices, kiss my ass, circumcisions when there is absolutely no medical indication, not inviting relatives to holiday events and family outings, apparently bribing Supreme Court justices is perfectly fine, asking an elderly person to move off of his seat in the bus, running a business and paying your employees poverty wages, filming people in public and antagonizing them for content. In France, a 45-year-old having sex with a 15-year-old, charging $5 for a bottle of water at amusement parks, reposting old question to ask credit to farm karma,